she's starting to really sicken me. Megan Fox drinking blood. Let's just roll the clip of her talking about drinking blood
today, huh?
I guess drink each other's blood might mislead people, or like people are imagining us with like goblets and we're like Game of Thrones drinking each other's blood. It's just a few drops.
Oh, okay.
But yes, we do consume
Guys,
each other's blood on occasion for ritual purposes.
Just for the ritual,
only.
you know.
It is used for a reason, and it is controlled where it's like, let's shed a few drops of blood and each drink it. He's much more haphazard and hectic and chaotic, where he's willing to just like cut his chest open with broken glass and be like, take my soul. Let me bleed on you. It doesn't not happen, let me tell you. Maybe not exactly like that, but a version of that has happened many times.
This is what a midlife crisis looks like. And the thing that's funny about Megan Fox is that she notoriously went on a rampage against her ex-husband, Brian Austin Green, because he published a photo of him with his kid. They're about to go to like a soccer game, and she's like, no photos of our children on the internet. Like, she's a good parent. Oh, okay, but you're going to be on the internet as the mother of this child talking about drinking the blood of your 20 years younger boyfriend, however much younger he is. Like, this is disgusting. It's satanic, it's demonic, but it's just like the stupidity behind, like, I'm protecting my kids because I'm going to be the person that's a knucklehead out on Instagram talking about drinking blood like I'm a Satan worshiper.
People are saying that this is unusual behavior. This is so crazy and weird and unusual. This, from the standpoint of world history, this is not unusual. This is the norm. Drinking each other's blood and having all sorts of weird rituals and human sacrifice, that is the norm throughout every civilization in the history of the world, until the ancient Israelites come down and say there is a God and we know his name, and then Jesus comes as the embodiment, as the incarnation of that God, and says, hey, stop doing all this weird stuff. And it's just so funny that the libs accuse Christians of being superstitious and weird and backward, and yet they go with their crystals and their blood sacrifices and their weird behaviors. They're the ones that are going even further back than any of us old-timey conservatives.
So here's the other possibility, is that she is making all this up because she told Rolling Stone, for example, that she likes to make stuff up just to mess with journalists. So there is a possibility there is that, but that it's so irresponsible. Even if you're faking this just to, Donny Osmond's Osmond-era agent once said that he wanted to plant drugs because he wanted to change his image and, get away from the squeaky clean. Maybe she's doing this, but it's disgusting. If you're selling your soul, whether you're doing it or not, we don't know. But the reality is that children are actually cutting themselves. Where suicide rates are going up, mental illness is going up. She is doing something disgusting here. Whether she's actually doing it or not, she is encouraging this behavior, this satanic behavior. And her fiance, Machine Gun Kelly, he's a former heroin and Adderall addict. We know that he is not a mentally well person, and yet we are subsidizing this.
Mentally well,
and
obviously.
Yet they're making millions of dollars. This is what Hollywood has become.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it used to be, they used to call it a conspiracy theory when you would talk about the normalization of occult practices in Hollywood. And we'd bring up Timothy Leary, who's a student of Aleister Crowley, and all these different things. But when you're looking at what she's describing there, it actually sounds something very similar to an occult practice known as the Black Mass. And the Black Mass, like pretty much everything in occult traditions, is a perversion of the Bible, right? So it's a perversion of the Bible. The same way that in the abortion debate, they say, this is my body, right? This is my body. Of course, a phrase from the Last Supper used in the complete opposite and very blasphemous way when Christ says, this is my body. And the same point, this is my blood. Well, of course, in the Last Supper and in the Mass, you you partake in the body and blood of Christ. In the Black Mass, you are partaking in the blood of another human. So it's about transhumanism. It's about humans becoming God.
And that's how they view themselves. Hollywood views themselves as gods. This is why the Bible speaks against idolatry. You really realize it now when you see how perverse and how backwards. It's Babylon. And to hear her making it sound like it's cool, sitting there. I mean, she's a mom of 3 children. She's got her boobs out. This is ha 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 ha. And no, like it's just it sounds bad. It's just like a couple of drops, but not him. He'll take the whole glass shard and do this and try to drip it into my mouth.
I'm a no drops kind of guy.
I mean, it's crazy. This is
one?
what kids are growing up on the internet to believe is cool. This is why I talk about culture and the Department of Education being combined, and this is the result of our society. Like what we are seeing taking place today. People look at her, look at Machine Gun Kelly, and they go, "That's what I want." When he proposed to her, she wrote a whole post on Instagram, which was actually a very lovely post, and at the very end, she said, and then we drank each other's blood. And that's why this interviewer is asking her the question, is that true? And she's like, yeah, it was just a couple of drops. It's satanic.
The thing is, she played, so the movie Jennifer's Body, which I've never seen and have no plans to see, but having read descriptions, this was a multi-million. No, I know, but it's a disgusting film. But it's the same thing. It's literally, she's doing supposedly in real life what she portrayed in this movie, which cost millions of dollars to spend or to build and to create, and then millions of dollars that were purchased at the box office. So the moral I think here is stop subsidizing this. Tell your friends, stop going to see anything from her. I mean, and then that's where I'm like, okay, how do we as conservatives push back on something without delving into cancel culture? How do we do this?
I'm very pro cancel culture. I've been pro cancel culture from the beginning. Every society has standards and limits, okay? And so I don't think you should get canceled for making a slightly racy joke or something. But when you are openly worshiping the devil and transing the kids, yeah, get canceled, baby. I'm all for it. Sign me up.
Look, you said this is the normalization of these practices, but it didn't start with this. It started with removing God from the public square, from removing a moral core. If you want to talk cancel culture, God is the first one who was canceled, and it was driven out, and it was the idea that you can have Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi claiming to believe in God and be Catholic, a devout Catholic, when they don't believe in it at all. Right. Bring back God.
No, you're totally right.
Agree.